Let's see what happens when we apply these various set operations in these examples. So first off, I'm going to find A intersect B. If you have trouble remembering intersection versus union, the n's aren't typically very helpful. This one kind of looks like an n. What I kind of recommend, the cup here looks like the U for union. But this one's an intersection. This one is a union. So if we want to take A intersect B, well, intersections throw things out. So I'm going to start off with A, which is 2, 4, 6, 10, 12. And I'm going to look through B and throw away anything that's not in B. Well, 2 is in there, that's good. 4 is in there, that's good. 6 is not, so that's going to get thrown away. 10 is in there, that's good, but 12 is not. So the intersection of these two is the three elements 2, 4, 10. All right, if I want to find the union, again, I'm going to start off with A, 2, 4, 6, 10, 12. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add more things onto this. I'm going to see, what did I miss? What's in B that I haven't already included? Well, 2 is already in there, 4 is already in there, 10 is already in there, but the 8 has not yet been included, so I'll tack that on. So A union B would end up being this thing. D intersect E. I'm going to start off with D, and the order doesn't matter here. These are, what do we call it? They're, when we can flip them around. So A intersect B, this is going to be the same thing as B intersect A. So I could have started off with B and then added on things that had from A. Again, or crossed off things that weren't in A. I could have started with B and added in things that weren't already in there from A. So sometimes it's helpful to kind of start off with one or the other. D and E, well, this one has 2 elements, that one has 1 element. It doesn't really matter which one I start with. But if I start off with, let's say D, because that's the order they're listed in. Start off with D, well, I have to cross off both of these elements. So it turns out the intersection of these two is the empty set. The union of these two, I'm going to start off with D, which is 2 and 10. Add on anything that wasn't already included. Well, that must be the 6. So the intersection of these was the empty set. The union of these is 2, 10, 6. If I want to take C, intersect the empty set, well, whenever you intersect with the empty set, this kind of is reminiscent of multiplying by 0. Because you'll start off with C, which is 4, 8, 12. But then you're going to cross off anything that's not in the empty set. But there's nothing in the empty set, so you're going to end up crossing off everything. So you would end up with just the empty set here. Versus if you took C and you unioned on the empty set, 4, 8, 12, and we're unioning on the empty set, well, there's nothing in the empty set to add into this, so this is just going to be C, or 4, 8, 12. All right, let's do B complement. This symbol right there is how we know we're talking about a complement. That's an E. So B complement, and in order to do a complement, we have to have some sort of universal set, and you can see that's defined right here. So the numbers we're talking about are 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 10, 12. I want to do everything that's in the set of numbers that I can account for, except those that are already in B. So let's see, 2. Let's start off with, let's look at this from the perspective of U. So 2 is in B, 4 is in B, 6 is not in B, which means it's in the complement of B. 8 is in B, 10 is in B, 12 is not in B, which means it needs to be in its complement. So you could almost look at B and B complement as taking all the individual elements of U and splitting them between the two. All right, so another thing, something you need to be able to do is do multiple operations to these sets. So you could do something like B complement intersect C. And you have to pay attention to the order of operations here. The only thing that makes sense here is for us to first take the complement of B and then to intersect it with C. So that's what I'll do. I already have B complement right here, so that's the one I'm going to be looking at for the first set. And so I'll just write it down, 2, 12. And then I'm going to be taking the intersection, so that means I'll be crossing things off. Anything that's not in C. Well, C contains 4, 8, 12, so that means I'll cross off the 6, so I'll just be left with 12. a single element 12.